My name is Maren Turner, and I'm the State Director for AARP Kansas. Welcome to our month-long series celebrating the contributions made by African Americans and Black Americans to our great country. Now, at AARP Kansas, we celebrate diversity, equity, and inclusion every single day of the year. During Black History Month, we like to shine an extra bright light on the contributions not only of African Americans and Black Americans across the country, but we are focusing on the contributions and the presentations that are going to be made by Kansans. So we know you're going to have a good time. So with that said, sit back, relax, get some popcorn, grab a friend, and have a good time. We're so glad you're here.
Welcome to Sunflower Scoop and Happy Black History Month. I am Tracee Adams. I'm a volunteer with AARP Kansas, Wichita. And on my day job, I'm a financial advisor with Hawthorne Capital. And we want to talk about Black history as it relates to wealth transfer and asset protection, otherwise known as life insurance. The relationship with life insurance carriers and the African American community is very complex. Although Black Americans are more likely to own life insurance than white Americans, recent studies show that their coverage is often far, far less. There's a sizable coverage gap between Black and white Americans that has caused marginalization, and I guess you could say reduced access to wealth transfers in the African American community. And that is not by happenstance, but by design. Historically, life insurance was sold to African Americans basically as burial insurance, smaller, cheaper policies that cover the bare minimum. Those door-to-door salesmen weren't always telling the truth, and so the clients never got the full breadth of the options of their life insurance. After the Civil War, insurers began classifying Black people who were former slaves as higher mortality risk, meaning they were charged more or denied coverage altogether. These practices stretched into the 1960s with separate sets of rates for Blacks and separate sets for rates for whites. They were called mortality tables. And so some states even banned race-based underwriting, thought it wasn't fair. But many insurers just simply took their business other places or reduced access to coverage and segregating the industry. Initially, though, African Americans could purchase life insurance policies on an equal footing with whites. That all changed in 1881. In March of that year, a insurance carrier that I will not call, one of the country's largest, announced that Black adults would be worth 1/3 less than the same whites on the same plan. Their weekly premiums would remain the same. Benefits for Black children did not change, but weekly premiums for their policies would rise by at least 5 to 10 cents. This carrier defended the decision by pointing out that Black mortality rates were higher than the white mortality rate. Therefore, they explained, claims paid out for Black policyholders were disproportionately more than claims paid out for white policyholders. Most life insurance companies followed suit. And so as a result, though that idea did not catch on, most insurance carriers use that same mortality table. And so it became a industry agreed upon practice. And so across the industry, companies block agents from soliciting African American customers and deny commissions for any policies that were issued to Blacks. But here's the good thing. In 1940, we had at least 42 Black-owned life insurance companies as a result of all these practices. African American owned insurance companies have their roots in fraternal orders and mutual aid societies, and existed in the early history of the United States. These societies were formed among free Blacks to provide security during times of hardship. African Americans banded together to care for the sick, widowed, and orphaned, and to administer burial rites. These enterprises were formed, at least in part, out of expediency. Many white-owned insurance carriers, like I said, refused to even insure Blacks. And so if they did, they also got the higher rate of policy premiums. And so out of that grew these Black insurance companies. And those are the ones I'd like to celebrate today. Like I said, we had about 42 during that time, so I can't talk about 42 of them, but there are a few that I'd like to showcase today. North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance Company was the largest Black-owned mutual life insurance company of that time. It was founded by C.H. Merrick, and he was the founder of North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance Company. He founded it in 1898, and it filled the gap of, well, he said, it filled the gap of proper coverage to the African American people. Just about all carriers cater to whites, and to that extent, such services didn't exist. And so they provided these services through Black social clubs, fraternities, like the Royal Knights of King David, which pooled its members and resources to cover expenses like burials. In partnership with Merrick, partnered with a Dr. McDuffie and C.C. Spalding. Merrick used the North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance to transform insurance opportunities for Black people, gave them jobs, and also offered policyholders a stake in the company, which made it mutual. And then we'd like to talk about Frank L. Gillespie. This is an incredible story. He was an Arkansas native, an insurance agent for Royal Insurance Company. He quickly noted that inferior quality of life insurance policies were being provided to African Americans, differently than what was being provided to white Americans by white-owned insurance agencies. He founded the Supreme Liberty Life Insurance Company in 1919 by an investment group. And so Gillespie had enough foresight to pool other persons' monies together, form an investment group, and that investment group formed the Supreme Liberty Life Insurance Company. By 1921, Gillespie had raised $100,000 to issue life insurance policies to Chicago African-American residents. By 1925, the company had written more than $5 million worth of insurance policies. That's from 1921 to 1925. They also had branches in Michigan, Kentucky, Missouri, and Washington, D.C. It was one of the few Black insurance companies to survive the Great Depression. And after the Great Depression, Supreme Life expanded into other of the nation's largest cities, carrying large minority insurance company policies. And lastly, we'd like to talk about the young Cirillo McSweeney. He was the first African-American life insurance agent for New York Life. We celebrate him today. McSweeney came to America from Panama. He couldn't even speak English, but he started from humble beginnings. He didn't even have shoes, but his first pair of shoes he used to become a track star. And he turned challenges into opportunities, and that became a part of his character throughout life. He became a champion runner, placing third in Central American Olympics for his home country. Later, he accepted a track scholarship to the University of Illinois. He graduated studying finance, economics, and political science. McSweeney knew no English, but grew to become one of America's financial leaders. He served as a counselor for Dr. Martin Luther King and was a part of the struggle, very influential. He was a treasurer for the Southern Leadership Conference. He was a member of the Civil Rights Movement. So he took those challenges and he turned them into opportunities. He was adamant about helping his clients. He served and sold more than $1 million of premiums for New York Life as the first African-American New York life insurance agent. He qualified for the $1 Million Roundtable, which is a premier association of financial professionals in the insurance and financial services industry. He accomplished more than many that did in their entire career. He had 26 wonderful, stellar years at New York Life, and we celebrate McQueenie today. Thank you for watching my Sunflower Scoop. I hope that you found it informative and entertaining, and continue to celebrate Black History Month.